XRP pumps, your portfolio's looking juicy. Now what? You cashing out for more crypto? Picking up some properties? Jake Claver spills the beans on his game plan, and I'm telling you, this needed to be on your radar because the guy basically read my mind in a 2-minute video. And hey, before we get to that, I've also got Jack McDonald dropping some serious knowledge about RLUSD, how stablecoin payments are shaping up, and way more. First clip, let's roll. Take a listen.
On being very bullish on this. I'm not all in on XRP, but it's a big position for me along with some other protocols I think play a role. And I'm sure you don't just think this is a one coin to rule them all. I think there are different horses for courses.
I'll diversify post-price appreciation. I just think that owning this asset in particular, after it gets a tier 1 asset designation by the BIS, it's going to give you the best leverage and easiest returns, and then you're able to diversify and take advantage of things that didn't move as aggressively during the end of this cycle here when the stuff gets adopted, because it's all about to get adopted. That's going to be the Cambrian explosion, is when we see the implementation of these protocols at scale. And like you said, some of these protocols end up being the base layer or foundation for global commerce. And if you're invested in those networks, you're going to do extremely well. And I want to circle back on the Nostro Vostro problem that you pointed out just a moment ago. Many people think stablecoins are going to solve that issue. They will just exacerbate it. Banks don't want to hold the counterparty's currency. And if each bank's issuing their own stablecoin, JP Morgan doesn't want to hold Bank of America's stablecoin or Citi's stablecoin. They want to use theirs. They're self-incentivized to do so. So you need an intermediary. You need a DEX that value can flow through and settle to the counterparty in whatever currency they want to receive on the other side of the transaction. And that does unlock the $27 trillion that's locked up today in Nostro Vostro accounts that could then be distributed and used for other means aside from pre-funding in bank accounts all across the world in separate currencies.
Yeah. I have heard of XRP and its adoption being a kind of catalyst for global economic boom because of the efficiencies unlocks that it may bring. And then we did speak earlier about how this world that we're moving towards is a very different one. From a market point of view, I think XRP is one thing in conjunction with AI and probably a number of other things that's going to potentially enable all of that.
All right, enough warm up. Time for the Jack McDonald segment. Now heads up, this one's got some meat on it, so don't expect a quick in and out. I'll be stopping it here and there to break things down and fill in the blanks where you need it. Why waste time with the setup? Let's listen to this.
I would like to bring up Jack McDonald from Ripple. Jack McDonald is the SVP of Stablecoins for Ripple. I'll let him do a quick intro of himself. But he also is a San Francisco guy.
Glad to have EDS in San Francisco.
I know, isn't that nice? We're always traveling, but they never do crypto. Crypto kind of missed San Francisco a little bit.
Well, the new mayor will be very happy. He's been announcing more and more conferences happening and companies coming in, so you could be the new poster child for San Francisco.
All right. Give Larry a call. I like it. Well, so Jack, give us a quick intro to yourself.
Yeah, so like many people, I've been in TradFi in my early days, got into crypto about 8 years ago. Started a company with Arthur Brito, who co-founded Ripple back in the day, called PolySign. We wanted to get in the institutional infrastructure business and founded Standard Custody, which is a qualified custodian in New York. Ripple ultimately acquired Standard Custody about a year ago to become the issuer of RLUSD. So I came across with that transaction and heading up the stablecoin business at Ripple.
And okay, so Ripple recently got into stablecoins. It's probably a 12-month project or something, but recently announced all that kind of stuff. Why did Ripple get into stablecoins? And what are you guys see? What are the cool use cases that you're seeing? Because everything in crypto should be about use cases. Is sort of how I think about this. Like, it's how are people using the money?
Yeah, I mean, Ripple, for those of you who don't know, has been in the payments business for the last 14, 15 years. I mean, one of the OGs in global payments. And as you've been talking about, payments and stablecoins seem to go together. Ripple had been a top 5 minter of USDC in its payments flows for a number of years. And about a year and a half to 2 years ago, decided that they wanted to get into the stablecoin business, really to be vertically integrated and to help deliver a better client experience, frankly. And so when they were looking at different avenues to do that, ultimately decided to do that through an acquisition. Everything that Ripple's been doing over the years has become more and more enterprise-based and wanting to do it in a more compliant way. And so going through a trust company as the issuer is the path that they chose. In terms of use cases, we, like everybody, are really focused on building utility and real-world use cases. Payments is the obvious one. As I mentioned, we've been using stablecoins in our payments flows for many, many years and have introduced RLUSD into our payments, which is resulting in a better experience for our customers in terms of speed, cost, etc. We've also had a thesis around stablecoin use in capital markets. Ripple Trading and Markets is an active trader of crypto, and then most recently we announced the acquisition of Hidden Road, the first non-bank prime broker. Super exciting opportunity there to introduce stablecoins as a means of collateral and an asset really for cross asset class margining that we're going to do. And so once that deal closes, we've got grand plans in terms of how we're going to utilize RLUSD within the Hidden Road business to really help bridge the divide between traditional finance and crypto.
Ripple doesn't do anything by accident. You know what I mean? There's always another move behind the move. So what's really going on with these Hidden Road and G Treasury pickups? They're gunning to make RLUSD absolutely massive on the XRP ledger. Here's where it gets interesting. Pop open the stats right now and you'll see RLUSD is practically married to Ethereum. But that's not the end game. The whole point is to migrate this thing over to the XRP ledger. Because guess what happens when you boost Ethereum? You're basically handing them free wins. Flip it to the XRP ledger though, and suddenly XRP becomes the fuel for every single move someone makes. That's where the value sticks. Okay, but hold on. If that's the plan, why'd they drop 90% of RLUSD onto Ethereum to begin with? Because that's where everyone was already camped out. The liquidity, the DeFi projects, the developers, all living on Ethereum. You can't ignore that. But the tide's turning. The EVM sidechain is pulling talent and projects onto the XRP ledger now. So that Ethereum dominance, it's going to shrink while XRP's share climbs. Thought you should see how all these pieces connect. Listen to this.
Their client base is roughly, I don't know exactly how you would decide or define it, but it's roughly 70% TradFi, 30% crypto. And so it's really a way to build this bridge, the blue glue, as we call it at Ripple, of getting more and more TradFi clients to come in and start using stablecoins, which I think are an easier step for folks to wade into the crypto waters.
Is that when you're talking with the big institutions? I mean, is it all about getting out of T0 settlement? I mean, is that literally the entire conversation? Is just instant settlement of assets, or like what are the other things that get them excited?
Well, it's part of it. I mean, particularly in capital markets, it's the 24/7 nature of it. So it's not just T0; it's 24/7. So it works over the weekends. It works when banks and exchanges are closed. It also solves sort of cross-border element where you get to negate the in many cases the FX conversion. It also allows partners to move back and forth from traditional assets into DeFi, let's say, or crypto, and back and forth. And so we're starting to see examples of that with some of these tokenized money market funds when people want to exit over the weekends, move their asset into DeFi, move it back into, a Bill or a Benji, that kind of product. Yeah. So capital markets, the other one I would just say some interesting use cases we've seen at Ripple. We just announced a $25 million grant to fund teachers in different jurisdictions and schools, doing that with stable coins. We've got a number of other philanthropic initiatives that we have underway, and utilizing stable coins is just one way that we can do that and to reduce friction for the end consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you see looking out? Like when we come back a year from now, Stable House 2026, what's going to be different? Like, how's the world going to kind of change over the next year? We could talk like 5 years also, but over the next year, how's the world really change?
Well, if history is any guide, we'll have a lot more stable coins out there. They seem to be pretty popular these days. I think you'll continue to see M&A. I mean, just in the last week, we've seen, today, Anchorage and Mountain Protocol. We saw Visa doubling down with BB&K. We've seen Meta rumored to be getting back into stables. The beat goes on. I think you're going to see more and more bridging the divide. Robinhood, making an acquisition today. And so you'll see more kind of cross-pollination there. I think we'll continue to start to solve for the payments business. The more I learn about payments, the more I appreciate what a fragmented industry that is. And I appreciate the things that you're doing because there's enough stable coins out there to feed the market right now. I think what we're lacking is the infrastructure and those on and off ramps and the ability to move money for companies that want to wade into the space and just don't know how to do that. So thumbs up to you for that. And I happen to think a big unlock where we'll see more and more a year, let alone 3 or 5 years, is on this capital markets front. I think that's just a massive inefficiency that exists today. I think of everything that we're doing here is really helping to rewrite a new operating system for capital markets. And crypto and blockchain Web3 are a piece of that, but I think the world is starting to awaken. Now we have some regulatory headwinds which are really opening the doors for traditional finance to really start to embrace the future.
Yeah, art of banking regulations come together. Yeah, Nasdaq. I mean, obviously, like I love when crypto forces traditional banks to do more shit. Like Nasdaq announcing 24/5,
Kicking and screaming.
like completely against their will. Like totally did not want to do it. But I mean, you had to because there was something you could tokenize the stuff and do the trading online. So that was a huge threat to their business, and so seeing that come through. Awesome. Well, that's I super appreciate you taking the time to chat with us. I think we're up to time here. Anything you want to leave folks with here? Any last words? Words of wisdom?
I'd say keep building. I mean, we love the developments that are happening. As I said, we think about first and foremost launching a stable coin, getting it out there, getting it accessible, and now we're really focused on the infrastructure being there because that's going to pave the way for utility. And so I'm excited with all the developments we've seen and look forward to collaborating with everybody.
Okay, did that land with you? Because he just said something wild. Nasdaq didn't wake up one day and decide to be generous with 24/7 instant settlement. They were getting surrounded. Other players were actively constructing the systems to cut them out of the picture entirely. So they moved or they died. This is the exact trap every dinosaur institution is stuck in right now. You hear people asking if we can somehow rewind crypto, shove it back in the closet, forget the whole thing happened. Too late. That door is welded shut. Now you've got nations throwing elbows at each other for dominance. And it doesn't stop there. Within each country, cities and states are at war, trying to claim the crown as the crypto nerve center. The breakthrough already happened. The rails are built. Transactions clear in seconds, fees are pennies, and users are hungry for it. So what's left for the old guard? Two roads. Adapt and plug into this new reality, or sit there while someone erases you from the map. That's it. No detours, no extensions. Which path are you taking? All right, let's switch tracks here. Hunter Horsley just threw out this little breadcrumb. A few cool things from Bitwise tomorrow and Tuesday. Can't wait to see. And then Crypto Gary jumps into the mix saying, it was big news that XRP and ROUC stablecoin were added as collateral to join Bitcoin Ethereum as collateral on Bitnomial. Looking forward to the ongoing asset expansion, old rules of finance to a new asset clans. Love this space. Bitnomial Exchange has become the first exchange regulated by the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission to be allowed to accept digital assets as margin collateral, starting with Bitcoin and Ether. And just like that, XRP slides into the party. Now here's where it gets good, it says. XRP and RLUSD are being accepted as margin collateral on Bitnomial for trading leveraged crypto derivatives, perpetual futures options, and soon leveraged spot alongside Bitcoin and ETH. This was the first for a fully CFTC regulated US exchange clearinghouse that could grow into a significant structural demand sink. A demand sink in volumes and participants in scale. What used as collateral means. On Bitnomial, traders can post XRP and ROUC instead of cash or X, Bitcoin, or ETH to open and maintain leveraged positions. Institutional clients can already use XRP and RLUSD as margin for perpetual futures and options. Retail gets access via Bitnomial's Botanical platform and the new leveraged retail spot exchange. The collateral sits on Bitnomial's CFTC-regulated clearinghouse, which marks positions to market and liquidates if collateral volume falls below required margin. So basically, this whole thing is letting XRP and RLUSD slide right into the mainstream financial world. The company Ripple strikes $25 million into Bitnomial plus CFTC approval, showcasing RLUSD and XRP approved collateral. The Coinbase derivative monster Deribit official, with 80% of Bitcoin and ETH market share, eyes 2026 US launch. When giants go head-to-head, users win. Now here's where it gets really interesting. People still don't get it what's happening. Ripple isn't entering Wall Street. Wall Street is migrating toward Ripple. Prime brokerage, 13,000 banks, 12.5 trillion in corporate liquidity. XRP isn't being added to the financial system, it's replacing the liquidity layer underneath it. Oh, and check this out. XRP, another accumulation by ETF this week. Not financial advice, but like smash the button if you're stacking XRP right now. All right, let's dive into some actual data points here. You can see we just crossed that $1 billion threshold in total value. This graphic breaks it down even further. You've got your daily inflows right here, market value over there, Canaries over here doing their thing. Bitwise has got skin in the game. Franklin jumped in as well. Grayscale's positioned right there with their price points showing. Stack all these products up and boom, that's your combined total. Rex Ospreys carved out their spot. Franklin Templeton decided to join the party too. And then XRP Rich List, December 7th, 2025. Top 10,000 wallets snapshots saved. Total held at 51.67 billion XRP. Change plus 5.6 million XRP added. Here's some of the biggest whales: Bithumb, Binance, Uphold, Ripple, and Upbit. And then key takeaways: Bithumb added 1.2 million XRP. Upbit accumulated 3.5 million XRP. Crypto.com added 2.6 million XRP. Uphold trimmed to a negative 284,000 XRP. Dozens of new whale wallets appeared today. This isn't just noise. This is whale level positioning. We're seeing tons of people preparing for this transition, and it's happening faster than ever. Which got me thinking, at what price point does XRP actually become the workhorse it was meant to be? Is it going to be 1,000? Could we see 5,000? What about 10,000? Everyone is throwing out different numbers, and I get it. But my personal view, when XRP is firing on all cylinders and living up to its actual purpose, we're probably looking at a range somewhere between $1,000 and $10,000. And let me tell you, I am counting down the days until we get there. The faster this happens, the happier I'll be. Anyway, that wraps it up for today's video, friends. Really appreciate you being here. See you in the next video.